roll call, please.
Commissioner Delgadillo. Here. Commissioner Peskich. Commissioner Richardson.
Here.
Commissioner Daly.
Yes.
Commissioner Bennett.
Here.
Thank you. We don't have a pledge of allegiance on the agenda, but we'll do it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is a motion to authorize the executive director to enter a contract with the Systems Electric Services, Inc. of 5 Wellesley Street, Chelsea, Massachusetts, for installation of generators at Rich Rider and T-Rock Gardens in the amount of $335,560. Base bid $261,800, and alternate bid number 1 for $72,760, pending preference approval of EOH LC.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just explain, as you know, I was not here in the last board meeting, and one of the items on the agenda was for you to vote the lowest responsible bidder for the generator project. This is a project that we've been trying to get going for almost 2 years now, which is a CPC funded project to install generators here at Race Rider and T-Rock Gardens. With the weather changing the way that it is, and the amount of storms that they're predicting, especially this year, generators are a hot commodity and very difficult to get. The reason why I put it on the agenda was for you to vote the lowest responsible bidder is because according to Chapter 149, Section 44A, responsible bidder is spelled out, calling for the eligible bidder and the responsible bidder, that they must be the low bidder, and they must be awarded the contract if they are the low bidder. So really, the board's role, just to be clear, EOHLC is the one that selects the low bidder. So when the bidding goes out, EOHLC receives the bids, they go through the bids, they make sure that all of them are responsible bids, that they've met all the minimum requirements of bidding for the dollar amount that's being bid. And then they send over to us their recommendation for the responsible lowest bidder. From there, it then comes to the board, and you vote the lowest responsible bidder. Those packages and all that bidding information, that's reviewed by a certified engineer at EOHLC. Whether it's an architectural engineer, if it's building construction, or whether it's a structural engineer or an electrical engineer, somebody who has a certified stamp is reviewing those documents to determine that these bids are eligible and that they meet the minimum requirements. So that burden is not put upon this board. The burden that's put upon this board is for you to spend the money by allowing the lowest responsible bidder to move forward. So I know there was confusion over the board's responsibility and the fact that we put the lowest responsible bidder on that agenda. It's done commonly, and the lowest responsible bidder has to be awarded the project if they are in fact the lowest responsible bidder. And again, that's certified by EOHLC.
I just had a question. Can you just explain the 261, the 335, and the 72, how those are related to which bid, which was the lowest bid, which was the most responsible?
So are you referring to the alternate?
Well, the base bid versus the award.
The base bid and the alternate is, when this went out to bid, there was an amendment put on there for an alternate. So the alternate was to be included.
Okay.
So it's the base bid plus the alternate equals the total bid.
Okay.
And then the lowest responsible total bid is who the project is for.
Yeah, I don't think there's any confusion.
Yeah. I wanted to spell it out because we had some conflict, which I want to address with the board also. I'll wait for this first.
So just on when there is a differentiation of 10% or greater, is it EOHLC is reviewing that, and they're not going to submit it to the board for authorization prior to them deciding that even though there may be a greater than 10% differential in the bids, they are still designating who is the responsible bidder.
Correct.
And they could throw out the low bidder if it's a greater than 10% differential, and then award it to the second lowest bidder, since they may be the most responsible.
Typically, the responsible bidder is the responsible bidder who has the whole bidding package in place. They've given the right, deposit, they've bonded, they've, answered all the questions properly, they've provided all the documentation, insurance, everything that EOHLC is looking for. They have their own checklist that they go by. But they would not send us a bid if it was not reviewed by them and approved by them.
And just to clarify, this bid was definitely less than 10% differential with the second bid.
Yes.
There's no change in the scope of work.
No. And really, the main reason why we wanted to get it on the agenda and wanted to have it on last month is we want to get the generator to work because the lead time is lengthy. So we didn't want to lose a month by waiting another month for the generators.
So I did go out of order. We should have asked for a second to the motion. Is there a second on the motion?
I'll see.
I don't remember it first. We'll make a motion.
And any other further discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote.
Commissioner Delgadillo? Yes. Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Commissioner Daly?
Yes.
Commissioner Bennett?
Yes.
Sorry, I lost wait.
Four yeses and one absent. Motion passes. There's no other items on the agenda. However, as chair, if things come up 48 hours prior to the meeting, we're allowed to put those into the meeting. And two items have come up. The first one I'll just address, and then the second one, the executive director will address. But I did get a public housing notice about the 2025 fiscal year budget guidelines, and they're very positive.
They are.
So that's really good news. Do you know approximately when you may submit the 2025 to us for approval?
Your fiscal year end is so.
No.
No, it is June, so June, so probably that's the month. The accountants tend to be a couple months behind.
Okay. Thank you. But it is very good news for the residents. There's additional funding available. So that's always good news. Then the second item,
Yeah.
the executive director addressed the second item.
So, Mr. Chairman, it's very unfortunate that Mr. Custer is not here tonight, but as you, as the chairman, have asked the board members not to email me directly to go through the chairman, I received a quite disturbing email from Mr. Peskovich. Again, it's unfortunate that he's not here. But I wanted to read it to you. It says, Mr. Morales, I take great exception to you accusing or implying or somehow obstructing the project and do not care about the facilities or residents. You need to get a grip on reality and understand that I'm the commissioner and that I have fiduciary responsibility in my role. I have no confidence in your ability to function as executive director of Marshfield Housing Authority. So it's the Peskovich commissioner. So I have a lot of issues with this. Obviously, saying he has no confidence in being a commissioner. I kind of want to run through the changes that we've made here at the Housing Authority, and I want Mr. Peskovich to tell me what exactly went wrong with any of the changes that we made. We've made a tremendous amount of progress over the last 5 years here, and I'm very proud of the changes that we've made here at the Housing Authority, and I think it's a chance to all people to live here, and to have a commissioner say something so outrageous is troubling to me. So I'd like to go through all of the projects that we've done, all the improvements that we've done, all the changes that we've done, and I'd like for Mr. Peskovich to point out which ones he actually has a problem with and how he does not find confidence in the changes that we've mean, we could go over all the things that he's done and figure out whether or not we have confidence in him. But I think those have been hashed out enough, and I think those need to go to the selectmen to find out about the confidence in him as a commissioner. Because I find his behavior just completely outrageous towards the staff, towards me, towards tenants. I have 25 commissioners, and I don't ever, I can't even, there is no one that has ever acted the way that this individual has acted. I've never seen such a display of disrespect from anyone professionally as I have this investigation. Again, it's unfortunate that he's not here because I'm going to say the exact same thing to his face. It's very, very troubling to me that he continues to sit on this board and harass the employees and harass the tenants and be so outrageously aggressive towards everybody here. It's very, very, very concerning to me. But when he says something like this to me, I really want to address this and I want to have an opportunity at the next board meeting for him to share his thoughts. Because I'm dying to hear why he doesn't have confidence. It comes at an ironic time too, because next month, Mass Narrow, which is the organization of all 250 housing authorities, have asked me to be a guest speaker next month and talk about managing small housing authorities for the other 250 housing authorities in Massachusetts. But given the fact that one of my commissioners has made such an outrageous statement, I just would like to hear more from him about it and have an opportunity at the next board meeting to discuss the details about this and figure out why he thinks that he can say these kind of things without supporting it.
I do think that we should have that discussion at the next board meeting, and that I appreciate you coming forward in a constructive manner to ask Commissioner Savage as to what his thoughts are. I think it does give you an opportunity, or if he does have a valid point, to improve.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if there is no valid point, then I think we also need to ensure that those comments are stricken from the record.
Yeah, and again, I would hope that as a commissioner, he respects the chain of command that goes through the chairman rather than communicating directly with me, especially in such an outrageous manner.
As we put in my email back to all of the commissioners, the email that Commissioner Pacific did write could be construed as a violation of open law, meeting law, and we need to ensure that we're not violating open meeting law. And that's for everybody's guidance.
So in light of that email, I'd like to make a motion to express the board's support for the Quincy Housing Authority and our application.
I will second that.
Any discussion? We'll take a vote.
Commissioner Dunn.
Yes.
Commissioner Daly.
Yes.
Commissioner Bennett.
Yes.
And Commissioner Richardson.
Yes.
We appreciate that, and I'm going to continue to do the best we can for the residents of the area, because, I believe in what we do. It's not just a job to me. I actually believe in what we do, and to have somebody who's just been nothing but a problem for 15 months, and I write down the things that he's done in 15 months, and I'm like beside myself to think that this person still sits on this board and offers no assistance and no help whatsoever. And not to mention, I've offered to sit down with him and go over housing issues. I've offered to sit down with him and show him anything that he wants. I've opened the door to the office, anything that he wants to see. And he hasn't taken one single opportunity to do any of it, but yet sits there and throws his garbage around. And it's just so, it's just deflating to hear all the good that goes on here. It's just,
I also regret that Commissioner Pacific is not here this
Yeah.
evening. So we would like to have heard his.
well, I definitely want to say all of this again, because it's all the truth, and it's all factual.
Yes,
I was wondering if anyone can,
could you just identify
sorry,
yourself?
Connie Hillman, Community Representative. And I'm just wondering about the status of that the last effort to communicate with the select board regarding his appearance on the board? And as a commissioner, I thought you had written an email to the select board regarding his continuing.
You were gonna meet on that.
I'm not sure I want to go into all the details here at an open meeting in reference to that. But, you know, there has been movement on it, but no decision so far as to whether or not a meeting will be conducted.
So that's, I just want to stress, I intend to say all of this in front of him. So I'm not saying anything that I wouldn't say directly to him and about him. I want him to be here, and I want him to answer these issues.
Yes.
Carrie, I'm Marilyn Lyon, and I just wanted to know if there's any sort of a code of conduct that goes along with the title, in a sense, like, you know, just assumed, maybe, code of conduct, because he doesn't necessarily behave that way right here in front of everybody all the time, but on his spare time, on the air, in front of anyone watching, he slings it. So, is there a code of conduct, in a sense? You know, to behave yourself while you're in town
I'll
at a
ask
meeting?
Commissioner Daley to respond to that if you can.
So there is no official written code of conduct for commissioners on the board. We are looking at putting that on a
Right.
future agenda, getting that passed. But, you know, what exists now is just sort of professional norms. And-
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, they exist, and I think people are expected to abide by those norms of behavior. When someone doesn't, you know, unfortunately, we don't have
There's nothing in writing yet.
there's nothing specifically prohibiting, you know, violation.
About your
of
behavior,
norms.
however bad it might be.
Correct.
Right.
But I think maybe the time has come for us to put something together that would.
There are many different circumstances that could, you know, come up in your lights outside of here. And the board might decide, we don't really want someone like that who robs banks or whatever.
Yes.
If, no, Rich, if in fact you do come up with these norms to follow, could a gag order be imposed upon anyone who is out of line like that on board, so as not to disrupt the meetings?
Well, again, a code of conduct is just that, it's a code, and it's not like a criminal statute where people can be punished without due process. A code is basically, this is what we expect, and when someone violates that code, we can think,
Taking action.
what we can do is just review them. There's no action that we can take that's not statutory.
Any other discussion?
I actually have a question. Would the code of conduct include the audience? Could the code of conduct include the audience?
Generally, it wouldn't, because I think the people, the audience would have First Amendment right to speak if, under the rules of the proceeding, they are allowed to speak. So I think it's more on the side of structuring the meetings in a way that non-relevant input wouldn't be accepted.
The open meeting law does indicate that while the public is welcome to the meetings, that they do not have to speak, do not have to ask for any audience participation.
So that's up to the chairperson as to whether or not the chair will allow comments from the public. And we are looking at various ways to model our meetings, whether or not there should be time constraints on how long one person is allowed to speak on a particular topic, whether or not, all of the tenants should basically meet with the tenant association prior to our board meeting, and your input be given to the tenants association and a representative from the tenant association speak on behalf of all the residents. And that could shorten our meetings. So we are looking at different ways to conduct our meetings. Anything else? Motion to adjourn. A motion to adjourn has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, any discussion? Seeing none, take a roll call.
Commissioner Delgado?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Bennett?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.